Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for those that are watching. This last weekend was the Worst Fest. I hope everyone had a chance to get out and partake a little bit in that. Get to see the Oscar Minor Wiener truck in town. And I understand there was I didn't get to go to it, but a really good crowd at the dog races. So for all the volunteers that work on that every year, hats off to them. It's a very good event, brings a lot of people to our town. Other exciting news is the City of Hermann Tourism Department and the Hermann Music Boosters are working together to host the 2022 Hermann Wine and Jazz Festival on Saturday, August 27th. This is just in the planning stages, so stay tuned for more details. But come out and support the boosters when that project or that jazz festival starts. The only other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about the utilities. You know, there's been so much concern about the rates and everybody's bills and so forth. So, you know, if Hermann's unique in its own way, but if you do just a little bit of research, you will find that Hermann is comparable to most other communities. Most people panic when they get their utility bills because they look at that bottom total. A lot of people, even though it's broke down per item, look at that bottom total of whatever it may be, $500, $200, and right away they say, oh my gosh, my gas is so high. You have to look at your bill and understand the breakdown. And then if you compare our utility, the gas, and the electric to other entities, you will find that we're pretty close. Better than some, maybe not as good as others. But all those items add up to that total number, including that meter fee that everybody does not like. You know, the city's a business, and we need to have income to pay for the utilities that we supply. So we try to keep our rates as affordable as possible. The meter fee is a big part of our income structure, and that is what helps pay our bills. So, you know, don't be fooled. If the meter fee were ever to go away, there would be increases in other ways of your rates or whatever to compensate for the money that those meter fees provide. You know, when Mayor Kerber was in office, he had a company called BAI to do a cash reserve analyst in 2020, which I have here, and anybody's more than welcome to look at it. And our current reserves are underfunded. And the study said that we should have a reserve of $4,165,000, and we're nowhere near that. So you might want to ask, why do we need these reserves? You know, why do we need that much money just sitting there? Well, again, Hermann's been blessed. We have not been hit with, well, the floods hit us, but we've not been hit with tornadoes. If a tornado got down into Hermann and bounced off the hills and wiped out 40 telephone poles or whatever, we don't have the money in the normal budget to fix all that. That's where the reserves come in. You got to have that for them emergency purposes. So I just hope this helps you understand a little bit of our utility structure and that. I'm not very well versed on some of the real fine details, but you can always come to the city and ask questions, I'm sure. So I hope that helps just a little bit. The other thing is, don't forget, April 5th is coming up. It's election time. Next Tuesday, for the city election, Susan Linger is running for Ward 1, and she's running all by herself. Ward 2 is Ash Gear and Clayton Newell. For mayor is Bob Sitton and myself. Please do your duty and vote. Thank you, City Administrator.
I've been spending a lot of time been hearing us talk about the department, the DNR Clean Water Engineering Grant. And so with some help from Corey, we've gotten most of that paperwork together, and I think I can send it off tonight before I leave, actually. We have all those details for our submission. Then they will send, we will work on a draft agreement with the engineering firm, our Archer is the one who got the bid, and then you guys will get to take a look at that again. And as a reminder, that is for paying for engineering fees up to $50,000 to do the engineering for the ballpark lift station. And then in hopes of using our next tranche of ARPA funds from the state to use as our match to get some of that infrastructure money coming down from the feds. We are also working on, the county, of course, has their monies as well that they're distributing and opening it up for smaller grants of $50,000 or less. So we did want to take advantage of that, and we applied for the 200 block of East 4th Street for water main replacement and stormwater issues. Included in that would be any lead line remediation and some faulty valves and a new fire hydrant. And then the storm drain is what we call the curb and gutter, would be fixed on that block as well. So that whole project is going to be $106,000, and we're hoping that $50,000, if we get it from the county, would offset that amount. Gary Liebman with the Caboose Museum approached me and asked if he could write a grant for ARPA funds from the county for the remainder of the Caboose statue. He had gotten a grant up front from the Missouri Humanities Council to get it started, to get the down payment on it, and the statue's been made and it's actually ready early. However, of course, they can't send it until we have the remainder of the funds. He's done some fundraising and some donations, but COVID related, he hasn't been able to get around as much to have as many fundraisers, and so he wrote a very nice grant application that I reviewed for the remaining $7,000 for the Caboose statue, and so we'll see if that comes through, but that would be helpful. And as the Alderman will recall, I think I emailed you last week, and I also gave this information to the park board, and that is that the dog park donations that the city had been holding for the dog park committee were issued to them. The reason we were just holding them in safekeeping until they formed their own 501c or some form of a nonprofit. Well, instead of actually forming their own, they are coming under the umbrella of the Community Foundation for the Ozarks. And so that is where I cut the check to last week in the amount of $8,053.80. So that is now completely out of city control. CIPP, that is as you'll recall, the cure in place pipe, and it's for relining the sewer pipes rather than replacing them. We had a meeting with the project manager from that company, SAK is the name of the company, and he gave us some timeline. So they're going to start the first week of April, and their deadline for completion is July 14th. But they think they'll be done a couple of weeks early if all goes well. They'll start with a video camera and the machine that cleans the pipes, and they will start lining then in early May if all that process goes smoothly. And they have the responsibility, and it's in our contract, that they notify property owners and businesses when their service is going to be interrupted and give them a 24-hour notice. The gas main stabilization project over in Gutenberg, that crew had been working all last week, but they got called off the job for an emergency in Illinois. So they had like a mutual aid agreement that they had to respond to. So that has been stalled out for the next few days. We are working, the department heads have all gotten me their draft budgets, and I am working on pulling that all together. Challenging this year because of all the supply chain issues. There are things that we ordered months ago that were supposed to come out of the current budget we're in now that aren't going to be here by June 30th. So there'll have to be a lot of shuffling going on. There's things that we got bids for last year this time when we started on the budget that now are significantly higher. And then of course we're trying to estimate what inflation is going to do and what our expenses are going to be for next year. So it's going to be a challenging process, but we will do the best we can on that. And like always, state law says that I need to get the first draft copy to the Board of Aldermen by May 1. Gerald Ingeman Memorial, just so you all know, reoccurring vandalism. Marlon has trying to work with those young people over there, you know, to let them have a place to hang out, but they seem to be unfortunately abusing it over and over again. So there are no loitering signs over there. Is there anything else you'd like to say about that?
I know Todd had ordered some, and I know we've been enforcing that every night. If we see one there, we've been running them off. And if we start catching them, we're just going to start issuing summons for loitering. And they've been pretty much vandalizing it, leaving trash and tire marks. So
Yeah.
we've been pretty hard on them just to make them go elsewhere.
So that's unfortunate, but now they're being, you know, asked to leave for bad behavior.
Where is
So, the Gerald Ingham Memorial.
At the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Hermann Motel.
Yeah, it's been going on for months, and so finally we're cracking down on them. You know, they've had spray paint on the pavement and a whole myriad of complaints we've gotten. So anyway, just so you know, and that concludes my report.
Okay, we have no public comments. We will move on to ordinances.
The first bill this evening is bill number 2022-15 for first reading. An ordinance to approve a contract by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and Madden Media to provide for geo fencing like markets.
Can that be explained?
It's gonna be pretty rough.
Sure. Geo fencing,
Come on up. You can explain.
Come on down.
Geo fencing is a new form of advertising that we have not actually taken advantage of in the last few years. And essentially what we do is we say, for instance, there's an event that we would like to go to, or we would like to reach that audience. So say it's a wine event in Lee's Summit. We put a geo fence around that wine event, and as much as we don't like it, our phones tell us where we've been and what we've done and where we've gone. So we will work with Madden Media to have the technology to target ads to those participants that were at that event. And those ads will be shot to them through Facebook, through Google, through other means, and we'll have access to, we'll be pushing ads to them for at least a month after these events. So there's several events that are listed throughout.
Well, the way my phone acts every time I go somewhere, I would say a lot of other people are already using this.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes.
So there's not a fence with signs on it then?
No, it is not. It's a geo.
Okay.
But I noticed on this, and there's several other ones, each one labeled as not an original budget. So if we have surplus tourism money or?
Yeah, so we did under project what we were going to have for revenue in FY22. So we have tried to figure out the best ways to utilize this, not necessarily surplus, but what we did not project that we would have. So it's a good thing, it really is. More advertising, more people, more revenue for the whole city.
Is there any other question?
I move bill 2022-15 first read.
Is it, before I ask for a second, is this time sensitive? Need to be done twice or?
If you can, that would be great. We would be happy to get right on it.
So ideally, I was gonna suggest that because of the election next week, we don't know who the next alderman's gonna be, so it's kind of cleaner if we can just get it through.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. If you would please read that again.
Bill number 2022-15 for second reading, an ordinance to approve a contract by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and Madden Media to provide for Geo Fencing like markets.
I have a motion to approve second time.
Move bill number 2022-16 for second reading.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next for first reading is bill number 2022-16, an ordinance to approve a contract by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and CrowdRiff to provide user-generated content and digital asset management services.
Questions on this one? You might want to come on back down here.
Don't worry, we're all in a little learning curve, actually, and the Tourism Commission has asked a lot of questions about all of this as well. So, user-generated content is, so say Susan goes to Stonehill Winery this weekend, and she hashtags Stonehill Winery, and she tags Stonehill Winery. What this technology will allow us to do is give the CrowdRiff company a list of tags and hashtags that we want filtered onto our website. So what we'll be able to do, because she has hashtagged or tagged Stonehill Winery, and we've given them the name Stonehill Winery, we will be able to send a message to Susan and ask her to use that photo on our website. So we continuously have to make our website better and better. And this is kind of the next step for once we launch in May. This will allow us to have more pictures from visitors from all over and see and explain, have more stories, more pictures. And the more pictures you have, the more people want to come to your town and to your destinations. The other part of it is the digital asset management. So photos, videos that other photographers and videographers produce, we can also ask them to get their assets, and we will be able to have a library with different tags. So if we're searching, like last week I was searching for a photo for a magazine that's going to have Hermann in it. They specifically wanted a winery, they wanted something with the Katy Trail, they wanted something with Amtrak. So we don't have the best system in place. For what we have now is about 35,000 pictures that Matt Wilson or other photographers have taken for us. So this will allow us to have tags on all those photos so that we can have better and quicker access to our photos.
Why do people worry about the government spying on them?
So, bottom line advantage of this is what?
So we will be able to promote more experiences in Hermann. We will have more access to photos. All of these photos then, we can ask them if we can use them in our newsletter, we can use them on social, we can use them as however we would like.
Okay, not good for us old people, huh?
If you're an Instagrammer, you would love it.
So it's user-generated content where we have typically been paying for this for the pictures now.
No, I you know,
It's nice.
I'm hoping that I'm not the only one that's kind of illiterate with all the high technology.
I had to visit with Derek about it too, and he's that generation that will love it.
So, okay, hopefully that explains it. Any other questions?
I move Bill 2022-16 first read.
Motion made, second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. This one also, if you would do that again, Dave, please.
Bill number 2022-16 for second reading, an ordinance to approve a contract by and between the city of Hermann, Missouri and CrowdRiff to provide user-generated content and digital asset management services.
Do I have a motion?
I move bill number 2022-16 be second read.
Motion's been made, second.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Mayor Thomas, can we take a little recess and let Corey work on the camera? It's not working.
The live stream.
The live stream's not working. Let's get that going. Okay. Is that okay?
So they can hear us, they just can't see us?
I'm not sure what the situation, if the live stream's down, then they're not, then only MediaCom's running.
It says it's rolling. I just watched myself walk up too.
The internet live stream isn't up or something, people calling the station. I don't know which one it is.
I can see it.
You can see it? Okay.
I usually get a message when it's off and I
Maybe
don't
it's
have it.
resolved.
And the MediaCom's going? Is the
Yeah,
console
media,
going?
media comes up.
All right. Well,
It's kind of fuzzier than normal on the
maybe
YouTube side, but
maybe it's the internet on their personal side or something. Okay. Thank you.
I apologize for any interference there.
All right, we'll move forward then. Old business.
Yes. I've been getting asked a lot of questions about the tax on the April ballot, mostly by senior citizens, but some younger people too. And I wanted to take tonight as one last chance to try to explain this. This letter concerns the law enforcement tax on the April ballot. For starters, let me say this is no way any reflection on Sheriff Scott Eiler or his people. Scott was a great officer for the city of Hermann and has been an awesome sheriff. He is my friend, and I hope when this is over, he still considers me one. When Scott was running for sheriff, I asked if he was considering running a proper Proposition P to help fund law enforcement in the county, as the ones tried by the last administration were just very thinly veiled attempts to fund the county general fund. People saw through that and they voted them down. He said he was going to. This was very good news for us, as law enforcement is of vital importance to Hermann and all of Gasconade County. As people leave the big cities and move into rural areas for a more sedate life, they will inevitably bring some problems along with them. While we certainly have our share of crime out here, as the shifts in population continue, problems will come along also. We need well-trained and funded police agencies in our county when they do. I had very high hopes this tax would produce that. Sadly, that is simply not to be. As soon as the initiative was announced, it became clear there were problems with it. The most obvious was the percentage of funds that would be dispersed to the other law enforcement agencies in the county. They are totally disproportionate to the population and percentage of taxes being paid to this tax by those areas. Our city administrator asked for permission to try and negotiate a more fair and equitable division of the funds with the county, and we agreed. Now this is important. Over 2 months ago, during that meeting, Presiding Commissioner Larry Miskell told her there would be no negotiations, that we should be grateful for anything we got. It was going to be 75% county and 25% everyone else, and that's the way it was going on the ballot. Take it or leave it. They would get it passed without us, thus ended the negotiations. The real problems started then. When the actual ballot language came out, there was no mention of any split of these tax dollars. Absolutely none. Just shall the county have a 0.5% sales tax to fund county-wide law enforcement. The one legally enforceable document being voted on in this election makes absolutely no mention of sharing this money with anyone. Instead, after the election, there will be an intergovernmental agreement that each community will have to sign if they want a share of this money. An agreement that will have to be renegotiated every year if these communities want any of this money. An agreement that states if we should find another source of funding for our law enforcement, that we will have to give this money back. An agreement that has a not to exceed clause in it, so that if the tax raises more than it's projected to, the county keeps that money instead of sharing it with the other law enforcement agencies. Can you see any problems with this so far? Our funding would be pretty much locked up forever, while the counties, not the sheriffs, the counties, has the potential to rise. As I've stated before, I do not blame our sheriff for this. This was absolutely not his fault. A couple weeks ago, he came before the BOA to present this tax and ask our questions about it. We work for the residents of the city, and we had to ask, why is this being done this way? He told us we needed to attend a commission meeting and ask the commissioners. I asked him straight out who had written the language of this. He said I gave them several options. This is what they gave me back. I would like to point out at this time that the minutes of these meetings, city and county, are public record. The city televises ours, at least we're trying to, and they're available for viewing on YouTube. Anyone who disputes what I'm saying is welcome to get a copy and check for themselves. So off we went to the next commission meeting to get our concerns on public record. One of the first questions asked by our city administrator was why the ballot language made no mention of a percentage of the split between agencies. This was not received very well by the presiding commissioner, who kept repeating state statute over and over again like we should just accept that. When pressed, he said the statute dictated what was on the ballot and they had no control of that. Well, the statute referred to states the absolute minimum info that must be on the ballot. It does not limit the amount of info you can put on it. When I asked why the surrounding counties seemed to be able to put the question info in the ballot language, and our city administrator produced a copy of the Franklin County initiative to back up that question, silence was pretty much the answer. So we moved on. When asked about a guarantee of the division of funds, we were told there couldn't be a guaranteed amount since the amount of the tax could change from year to year. Understandable. What we were looking for was a guarantee of percentage. The percentage wouldn't change based on the amount collected. Then I asked if the sheriff's department would get to keep all of the funds currently appropriated, or would his budget be cut. At this time, the presiding commissioner, Miskell, stated the sheriff doesn't need a $2 million budget. So I asked how much his budget would be cut, and Commissioner Larimore said they discussed about 40%. Well, now, if you've been following budget totals, this amounts to about $500,000. This tax is projected to provide around $1 million. If, and that's a big if, this is indeed a 75-25% split, the sheriff's department, after you take away $500,000, would get a $250,000 total boost to their budget, and the rest, all of the rest, collectively, the law enforcement agencies in county, would split the remaining $250,000. This is a $500,000 total boost to law enforcement funds at the county. At this point, I pointed out that this could have been accomplished with a 0.25% sales tax unless this was going to be a cash cow for the general fund. That statement was met with total silence. Now, this pretty much proves three things. Number one, they know there's going to be a surplus of funds if this passes. Number two, the law enforcement agencies of Gasconade County are not going to benefit from that surplus. And three, the largest single beneficiary of this tax will not be any law enforcement agency in the county. It will be the Gasconade County General Fund. My final question to the commission was, with everything I have read and have heard here today, I have not seen one thing that guarantees anyone but Gasconade County will get one damn penny of this money. Am I wrong? Once again, I was met with silence. Does anyone see a problem here? Now, I'm about as pro-law enforcement as any elected official in these parts. Anyone who has to strap on a gun and a bulletproof vest when they go to work is never paid near enough money. Since the counties around us seem to know how to actually pass Proposition P or equivalent tax, officers and dispatches and other personnel in those counties are getting higher pay than ours. Guess what? They still have trouble getting help. Our sheriff's deputies are some of the lowest paid in the area, and God bless them, they still show up for work every day. Unless something happens soon, all of Gasconade County, our law enforcement, is going to be in a world of hurt. It's not too late to fix this. An agreement to make sure all of these funds end up benefiting law enforcement equally in the county could still be reached before the election if the county wants to. And if not, and this one fails, a real Proposition P, not a cash cow for other departments, could still be passed in the near future. In a world where we're being taxed to the max, and it's probably going to get worse, it's difficult to get people to vote for any tax. There is no guarantee it will pass, no matter how it's presented. However, knowing the money, all of the money, is being equally and fairly distributed for its intended purpose will go a long way in garnering the support it needs to pass. April 5th is right around the corner. It's up to each individual to decide how they want to vote on this. My purpose here is to make sure you know exactly what it is you're voting for. Sincerely, David Farber, Ward 2 Alderman for the City of Hermann.
Thank you. Anybody else have old business before we get into the food truck? Okay. We'll move on, under old business, we have the draft for discussion for the food truck.
I'll just say I have a meeting scheduled Wednesday afternoon with Attorney Mark Piontek, the gentleman that was here about a month ago, who had some comments. And so we're gonna just look at it together and see if we can reach a mutually agreeable draft that provides fair regulation to the food trucks. And that will be presented hopefully at the next meeting.
Okay.
Still as a draft, probably.
Still as a draft, okay. Hey, any other discussion?
So should we postpone until April the 11th?
Yeah, until they get together and try and work that out.
And we'll have the results of that at the next meeting.
Okay. Any other old business? You know, even though we're working on this, there are food trucks that come to town and do business, and at this point, personally, I see no reason why food trucks can't do business as long as they get the proper license. Am I correct?
Yes, the Philly steak.
Yeah, the Philly steak comes by town, you
They
know.
have they willingly, just came in and purchased a full business license.
Okay.
And they're on private property, so right now that's all they need.
All right, under new business, anybody, anything under new business? One thing I failed to mention in my comments is Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock, if anybody's interested, they're having a meet the candidates at the school. And what they do is, everybody that's running for office, they put us on stage and ask us questions. And anyway, if you're interested in how the election's going, it's open to the public. I failed to mention that earlier, I apologize.
Don't fall.
Huh?
Don't fall.
Don't fall. Don't look at my head. Okay, well, we will move on to motions if there's no other new business. So I have a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from March 14th meeting.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second?
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Invoices for payments, motion to pay the bills.
One last time, move to pay the bill.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second?
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Okay, we have a long list here. Item C, we're going to appoint Mike Walton to the Board of Adjustment for a full term and Glenn Clifton to Board of Adjustment for a temporary term.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
How long are those terms? Are they 2-year terms?
I believe that's 3 years.
I'll just say,
Board of Adjustment is 5 years.
Okay.
They only meet like once every couple, it isn't very often.
Not very often, I mean, they have a little issue going on now, but yeah, very seldom do they have, maybe once a year, if that often,
Okay.
normally. So, okay, next, reappoint Brian Turley to the Utility Advisory Board.
I move to approve Brian Crowley's appointment.
So that's it. I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second?
Motion made, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Reappoint Kevin Speckhouse to the Tourism Commission. A motion for that?
Move to approve.
Motion been made, second,
Second.
all in favor, aye?
Aye. I think you missed one there.
I missed one?
Yeah.
Elise.
Elsie. Elise.
Elise Belfonte.
Parkwood.
E.
Well, anyway, okay, we're gonna approve Kevin, then we'll. Hey,
He's just
I hit my head.
checking, make sure you're under trouble.
so approved. Okay, appoint Elise Belfontaine to the Park Board.
I move to approve Elise.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Sorry about that. Okay, now we're going to move to item G, approve the bid for a copier printer from Sumner One for $6,991. And this was in the budget, you said,
Yes.
correct? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made, second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Okay. Approve Little League bids for shirts from ARB Signs and T-shirts and photos from Wilding Photo.
Move to approve the bids.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Okay. Approve the pool fee schedule and Hermann Fitness Stores Aquatics proposal.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Tourism Department approved bid for the American Locker for $10,097.
I'm particularly excited about this one. This one's been a long time coming and it's been sorely needed. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Tourism Department approved bid from Great American Flags and Flagpoles for the open flag.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Lift You Up Rides Debbie Van Stahl Vehicle for Hire License Renewal.
Move to approve.
Motion made, second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Liquor license for Hermann Incorporated, 2204 Highway 100, Press House and Cellar.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried. Caterers permit for Adam Poop the Winery, MyFest, Volkspot Amphitheater, May 21st, 2022.
I move to approve.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Special event application for the Tourism Department, Hop on the Train with the Easter Bunny, Visitor Information Center at the Amtrak, April 19th, 2022.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
It's April 9th, just so you know, not 19th, April 9th, Saturday, April 9th.
Somebody typed it wrong. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Item P, special event application, Arts Council, First Friday Art Walk, including sidewalk chalk art on the downtown sidewalks, April 1st.
I move to approve.
Second. I was just thinking we have problems with people painting the park
This
up
is
there,
chocolate.
or letting it right on the side.
This is chocolate.
Chalk washes off.
Okay.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Arts Council, can they go ahead and do another application for the rest of the season and not do one every month? Okay, and that's what I was talking about. Thank you.
Special event application for Velo Coca LLC doing business as Hoghead Cigars and Fine Tobaccos Hall Smoke Fest 2022 after the amphitheater, September 16th and 18th, 2022.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made. Second.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Special event application for the Pork Belly Ventures LLC Big Muddy 5-day bike ride camping and riverfront park, May 14th and 15th.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Festival event application for the 2022 MyFest Committee, MyFest Volkspark Amphitheater, May 20th and 21st, 2022.
Move to approve.
Motion been made, second.
Second?
Motion made, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Festival event application for the Hermann Masonic Temple Association Food Sale Caboose Area, October 1st, 2nd, 8th, 9th, 15th, 16th, 22nd, 23rd, 29th, and 30th, 2022.
Your lungs are working well.
Can you say that again?
Could you repeat that?
Motion approved. Second.
You guys make fun of me. Motion been made, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So carried.
That was a compliment.
getting back to myself, thank you very much. All right, that completes our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an honor. Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion made, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye. I got my weenie whistle.
Here they come. We have a wing here.
Pleasure, been a pleasure.
All right.